everyone. Thank you for the invitation of speaking here. Actually, it's good for me to be here after 20 years because I'm the only one who made the presentation, among the presenters of today, who made the presentation 20 years ago. And I will show you, I hope, they told me to move the hand to show the invitation of the 20 years ago Department Day, but apparently the director of the, of the room is not here. Anyway. Can I see? The interesting thing of the Department Day of 20 years ago, it is that it was almost exactly the same day. It was on the 28th of September of '92. We had 13 presentations. The groups were not like now, there were more diffusion. And the funny story is that we didn't have the meeting in this room, but we had it in Villa Gualino, that maybe you know is a villa used for research activities on the hill of Turin. And if you look at that invitation, you understand how many years have passed, because also in that day, we didn't offer the lunch. And the lunch, for the lunch, we had to pay 5,000 lira. And actually, you see the difference of the cost of the life since then. So I would like to go finally on my presentation, and I would like to ask the help of someone, because I don't see it. I'm sorry. Mine was global, and I don't see it. Sorry? Okay. Yeah? This one? Okay. Sorry, but I'm an old-fashioned man. From the fact that I was there 20 years ago, and I'm here now, you may understand how old I am. So I will tell you something. I will present you something about the activities of the electromagnetics group, the applied electromagnetics group of this department. Actually, the organization of the presentation of today is subdivided among groups, which are actually the groups established by the ministry. As you may know, certainly those of the department know, but other people doesn't know that university professors are subdivided in groups, the one who deals with electronics, the one who deals with mechanics, and so on. And the groups which are belonging to our department are 6, and these 6 are those who are presenting now. But now, coming to the applied electromagnetics, which actually the ministry group is Campi Elettromagnetici, that is electromagnetics field, but our activity is focused on the application, essentially. And so you see the staff, the group, our group is smaller than the group in telecommunications, about the half, about 14 people. And you can see here the faces and the names of the people working. And obviously, we are working in many different areas. The mission of our group is essentially to deal activity in all the areas of electromagnetic science from the application point of view, either theoretical, numerical, and experimental. The main areas, you know, electromagnetics is a wide area. The main area in which we are working are listed here: antennas, micro and optical components, photonics, propagation, radar and wireless systems, and remote sensing. To this area, each one of us belong maybe more than one, and I will show you in a minute the more detailed research area that you see listed here, and the name of the person who are dealing with that. And so you have, these are in rigorously alphabetical order, almost. Actually, there is a mistake here, but anyway, I'm sorry. And antennas, detection radar systems, material characterization, optical systems and sensors, micro and optical components, remote sensing, and wireless systems. We are about 14 staff people, and in addition there is a large number of research assistants, mainly postdoc, and about 12 PhD students. The activity in the applied electromagnetics requires, as the Vice Rector Machi said, a lot of experimental tools, and obviously a lot of money requires. So we have a number of laboratories to which we in which we are working, and essentially not so many as the group of telecommunication, but again in alphabetical order. We have the first one in alphabetical order is the XM group. The XM group is a laboratory which deals with wireless communication systems and techniques, so it's borderline with the telecommunication group. Actually, the logo of the XM group is not black in the rear, but I was requested to the leader of the group to make it black, because this laboratory is one of those who is risking the closure because of the immediate lack of funding from the region. The region promised a lot of money to this laboratory, and suddenly, because of the spending review that everyone knows, had decided to take them out. So a number of municipalities have made a sort of collection of money to pay instead of the region the activity of the laboratory, because the activity of the laboratory, as you will see, it is very important for the local communities. The other laboratory, which is the largest one probably in the group, is the LACE, Laboratory of Antennas and Electromagnetic Compatibility, obviously mainly the part of antennas here. Then the already mentioned Photon Lab, the optics group in our group is a strict cooperation with the optics group of the telecommunication group, so you will see probably some slide that you have already seen before. And finally, the remote sensing group and laboratory, which deals with the sensor for remote sensing of precipitation, GNSS, atmosphere and soil, and so on. Coming to the detailed activities of the various people, we have, for example, the microwave millimeter wave components. Professor Horta and his cooperator are working with that, and they are working in cooperation with other entities in the same research area. I have to mention that in Turin, there are other research groups out of the Politecnico which are working in electromagnetics. One is the so-called IEET, which is the Institute of the National Research Council, which is here at the Politecnico, and so we have a tight cooperation with them. The other is the already mentioned Boella Institute, which is across the railroad, and again, that institute has some interest in the electromagnetics, so we have some cooperation with them, as you will see in the next slides. So micro and millimeter waves components, so an OMT, for example, note the application operative band from 20 gigahertz to 110 gigahertz for scientific surveys, so very high frequency. That's the importance of the subject. And again, high efficiency feed horn for satellite communications up to 50 gigahertz. And this is the microwave components, which, as I said, are in cooperation with the IIT. And there is also an activity in optical components, as you will see, full wave models of vertically cavity surface emitting lasers with high contrast deflecton gratings. And what you are showing here is some results of the field map of these devices. Still in optical, there is other activities on fiber and optical components. There is a cooperation of Professor Perrone with the Photon Lab, which is already mentioned before, and the PPP Lab. And you will see some picture of these laboratories and a list of the main facilities these laboratories have. Again, in photonics, there is activity on high-power fiber lasers, and you see some picture of the devices this group is developing. Again, there is an activity in fiber sensors. You know, in this electronic world, we need to have sensors for everything. And so optical sensors are very important because they are small, they can be cheap, and so on. So here there is a list and pictures of some of the devices realized by this group. And again, there is another activity, not, of course, no longer of the optical group, but in the radar, there is an activity in detection radars for free space intrusion collision. So the people working here, which is Dr. Maggiora with co-workers, made the complete design of and prototyping of microwave antennas and circuits, electronics board, etc. And they have a strict cooperation with the industries for making products which are really going into the market. And so these are an example of the prototyping of these detection radars against intrusion. Finally, now I'm going to another group which is relatively large, which is the remote sensing group, as you may see from the logo below. The remote sensing group has a strong activity in radar meteorology since many years, and they deal with a network, a micro radar net. They have a number of bases spread around Italy, and other two are expected in Israel. So there is a strong activity, and here you see the picture of one of the major radar they have, and this you can recognize here the Polytechnico. So it is on the roof, probably of this building, no, maybe of the other one. Anyway, on the new building. And the activity of the remote sensing group is also extended to the remote sensing of the atmosphere through the GNSS, because it is possible to characterize the atmosphere by controlling and analyzing the characteristics of the transmitted signal from a satellite to another when the signal passes tangent to the Earth's surface, or near, not tangent to the surface, but in grazing incidents into the atmosphere. So you see here some results of this research. Then, still the same group has an activity in reflectometry for soil moisture evaluation, software developed in order to understand how are the characteristics of the soil during the time. So this is very useful also for agriculture and other activities, and propagation characteristics, by the way. And again, here you see the results with pictures and characterization. And again, this is a list of the activities. There is a number of contracts with European Space Agency, as you may see here, and the cooperation with a large number of institutions, Italian and abroad. Still in the remote sensing, there is also an activity of characterization of the materials carried out by Professor Savi. Time domain reflectometry, you see here the examples of the results they have and the procedures they use, and some results of the determination of the complex permittivity in frequency domain. This, as you see here, is a cooperation also with another group of the department, because Professor Maio is not of our group, but is of the electric circuit group. And finally, we go again, not finally, but again, we have the activity of the XM Lab. The XM Lab, as I said, is work on wireless networks, but not from the communication point of view, but from the electromagnetic point of view, from the electromagnetic channel point of view, that is the antennas and the propagation from one antenna to another. And so they have been working years ago in the realization of an alpine network, that is long distance wireless communication at high frequency for internet and things like that, from Monte Rosa to another mountain near Montecimone, I think, which is near Bologna. So a lot of activities here. And then this group has a strong interest in activities in developing countries for helping the installation of wireless systems and wireless networks in areas where at cheap cost, at low cost. So there has been activities in the Amazonian forest, in Comoros Island, and places like that, which clearly don't have the infrastructure that we have in our countries for the installation of the wireless networks. This is a number of activities, some pictures of the activities they make. And this is an example. They started to make it's very interesting, this story. You know that when you are in a place where there is not much population, it's not very easy to have optical fibers and things like that. Imagine an area in which you have 1,000 people and it is, let's say, 1,000 square kilometers, for example, or 100 square kilometers. So the people is so distributed in the surface that you cannot think of bringing the optical fibers to every house. And so they started years ago in making in Verua, Savoia, which is a small village, well, not a village, but a small group a small community, it should be said, a small community at the border of the province of Alessandria, Asti, and Turin, to bring internet to every house through wireless systems. And this is, for example, the statistics of the new users they had in this community, in which you see that at the beginning they had a high number of subscriptions, then they had a saturation. These are the new users. So after 1 year, everyone had his own wireless link through to wireless systems. And they extended this activity to wireless domotics, open hardware wireless device, and energy management of the houses. So the municipality and the community of Verua Savoia was very happy of having this help from the point of view of to have the wireless and new technologies application, and that's why when the region decided not to fund anymore this activity, they decided to give support to the group. However, the support is not sufficient for making what was planned before. Anyway, again, still another activity carried out by ICSEM is the networks of wireless sensors and body area networks in harsh environments. For example, detection of faults in pipelines and things like that, which are very helpful in practical problems. And, well, okay, can go on. And finally, a few words about the LACE, the Laboratory of Antennas and EMC, and essentially I will talk about only on antennas. This laboratory encompasses a significant group of people, almost half of the whole group, about 6 people. We are 14, so it's almost half. And this laboratory was created about 10 years ago in the frame of strategic action of the Politecnico to have high-quality laboratories. And the mission of this laboratory is to carry out experimental activity and characterization in the areas of antennas and electromagnetic radiation and accessibility of electronic system and device. And this laboratory has a partnership with the Boella Institute in the frame of the shared laboratory agreement that what was made between Politecnico and Boella Institute. The laboratory has a plant in the Politecnico where there is a microwave and millimeter waves anechoic chamber, an outdoor antenna test range, and instrumentation for measurements up to 70 gigahertz. But there is also interesting equipment in the Vercelli. You know that Vercelli is it is, or it was, I don't know, because it's still there. Politecnico decided a few years ago not to take courses out of Turin anymore, And so this building will not be longer used, but there is still there some laboratories, including ours, and there is a large anechoic chamber, and the near field, inside the anechoic chamber there is a near field test range and a spherical test range, and we recently installed a planar scanner in cooperation with Pirelli. There is a contract, which is not department contract, but a university contract with Pirelli, so many departments are involved, and to analyze the radiation from sources which are mounted on tires, we installed a planar scanner for making this analysis. Just a few, for those who are not, maybe not on the department, they can be interested in making tests. The antenna test ranges, we have several antenna test ranges, one in the anechoic chamber here in Turin, used mainly at microwave and millimeter waves, which is a range of 2.8 meters. And there is the outdoor range that maybe many of you have seen on the top of the roof of the two buildings across Corso Castelfidardo, in which actually the test range is from, this is the antenna under test place, and this is the source place. We are here we are here, and our department is in this area. And obviously there is another part of the department of the map, anyway. Here is the position of the antenna under test, and this is the source. And this is a detail of the positioner for the antenna under test, and this is the detail of the source. So we are able to test antennas up to 40 gigahertz with a weight of 80 kilograms and a size of 2 meters. So we actually have good activities because we give consultancy not only in making measurements, but also in fault findings and improvement of the antenna. So Eutelsat, for example, has a cooperation with us. They send us the antennas they have for certification. For example, what you see here are some examples of the results obtained in the outdoor range. And this is the other test range we have in Vercelli with the anechoic chamber. You see all the characteristics working above 750 megahertz. And this is the picture inside. You see, it has been completed very recently, August 2009, and it is very active in making tests and certifications. The activities in antennas of the group of 6-7 people is divided in a few areas: innovative antennas for mobile and fixed communication, reflector arrays, miniaturized antennas, antennas for RFID, and this is essentially the applied area. Then there is theoretical or computational aspects, the electromagnetic modeling for complex structure. There is also, actually it's a little bit decreasing, and activities on antennas for plasma heating. So you will see in next pictures a few examples of the some innovative antennas we have designed in the past few years, like a multi-band antenna for base station, antennas for disabled support devices. This is sort of watch in which you have an antenna which transmits the situation of the patient during the day. This is a steerable beam array for wireless communication and RFID, which steers the beam in various directions with a control, very cheap control, because we don't use digital phase shifter, but varicap and materials very cheap. This is another example of activity made in cooperation with the Wella Institute, in which we have designed a bidirectional antenna for highway monitoring with wireless sensor network. So you see that the radiation pattern of the antenna is not broadside, but is radiating in the two opposite direction along the highway, as you see from this example. One important area of activities, the one in reflector arrays, you see an example. Reflector arrays, it is an activity that we started a few years ago, and we are coordinators of the PRIN, of the national interest projects that have been from 2008 to now. We finished 3 days ago or something like that. We had also funding from the regional government from some special application, like the Whispers project. The WISPER project, as you see, the acronym is the acronym of Wireless Infomobility System for Ultralight Platforms for Emergency Radio Services, is a project in which you have UAV, an unmanned air vehicle, which makes a survey of the territory of the region and can be used for recovery in disasters and problems like that. The mobile-based antenna requires to have a double frequency, some special characteristics, so we decided to use a reflect array like this. And the example, essentially you have two different feeds which, due to the special shape of the reflector, radiates in a single direction. I will not deal many details on that. I will skip a few slides. This is the radiating element, and this is the example of the phase behavior of the element with the change of the frequency. One important point which has been funded by European Community through Marie Curie funding allowed one researcher of our group, Dr. Matekovic, to make a 3-year activity, 2 years in Australia at the Macquarie University and 1 year here, on metamaterials and cloaking, which are, metamaterials are special material with some special characteristics. And one of the interesting results is the reduction of the radar cross-section of a circular cylinder. So if you have a circular cylinder of metal, this obviously has a scattering, but if you cover with some special coating like this, it becomes almost transparent. What you are going to see, I hope I can show you. Okay, this is the reduction of the RCS of this cylinder. You see, this is a metallic cylinder. You see how it changes the field in this region. So this is red and this is blue or green, while here, if you coat it with some special, this is some special coating, the scattering is reduced and the color remains the same. This means that the level of field remains the same. So it has a lot of interesting application in antennas, avionics, and things like that. And for the miniaturized antenna, the most recent applications are in the automotive mobile communication, and Cyber Tire, which is a project of Pirelli, which transmits high data rate link between tire and the car. And so the example of the automotive mobile communication, which was in cooperation with Boella Institute and with a company in Turin, was Magneti Marelli. I will show you in a moment. In addition, there is the possibility of making reconfigurable antennas. And so this is the example of the activity we made with Boella Institute and Magneti Marelli. This is a very cheap antenna because actually it is integrated in the printed circuit. So it is we call the zero-cost antenna. And if you say zero cost to a company, they are very happy. And this is the picture of the antenna with the components mounted. This is the 3D patch-like. And these are a few results. And in addition, another type of antenna which is very interesting is reconfigurable antenna, which uses genetic algorithms to change the characteristics of antenna depending on the position of the switches. So you have an antenna like that with some strange holes, and depending on the switch you activate here or here, a GSM rather than others, you have the tuning of the antenna at different frequencies. So you, with switch open and closed, you have many positions you see there, and characteristics of matching and operating of the antenna changes with the switching. The Cyber Tire I was mentioning before as a communication scenario like this. So you have the tire with the node which transmits data, high data rate data. It means that they send the node sends the acceleration data every few fraction of seconds in order to check the characteristic of the tire every moment, not only the pressure, but everything. And there is a central unit, and for each tire there is a receiving antenna which transmits to the central unit. And the frequency in work are ultra-wide, a part of the ultra-wideband range from 425 to 475, and the ISM band 24 to 48 for the uplink. The node antenna has a shape like this, very small, because obviously in a tire you cannot have a large antenna. This is the size of 12, 13 millimeters, a cube of 12, 13 millimeters. These are the characteristics of matching and so on, the radiation of the tire. And the antenna mounted on the vehicle must have a dual frequency characteristic, and therefore it is a special device that we have, it has been patented together with Pirelli in the past years. These are the characteristics of the antenna and so on. From the theoretical point of view, the group is making hard work, strong work since many years with very important results. For example, there is a few people working on optimization techniques for antennas, improving making improved version of standard techniques, and applying them to electromagnetic problems. And so there is a improvement of the so-called method of the particle swarm optimization, in which the parameters of the problem are simulated like a swarm, and these are the results. And you see how the convergence, it improves. This is the standard method with the convergence rate, and the convergence rate is much improved with these new techniques. Another result, these are the results of the application of this method to the antenna design. You see how it is possible to control the side lobes of the antenna. Another optimization method is the biogeography-based optimization, called BBO, which simulates the migration of the species among different habitats. And these optimization techniques allow, you see, to have a very constant side lobe level in the antenna design. And this has been done by designing a linear tint array. And finally, for this optimization method, there is a Bayesian optimization algorithm which uses probability theory to estimate the distribution of promising solutions for a specific problem. And again, you see the results of the optimization. For the modeling of the antenna, there has been an activity since many, many years. In the beginning of this century, in 2000, 2001, 2002, we have been working on SFX, which is the acronym for synthetic function expansion, which is a very powerful tool for reducing the computational time in the analysis of the antenna. Because usually, when you analyze a structure like this, for example, you have to subdivide in many, many small cells which have a dimension of much less than a wavelength. And so if the structure is large with respect to the wavelength, obviously you have a lot of cells and a lot of time. And then if you use the synthetic function, the reduction of time is dramatic. You're 10 times less. And okay, I had to start at 10:15. When is the coffee break? 10:30? 5 minutes? Okay, I'm almost through. And I was saying that with this powerful tool called SFX, it is possible to analyze various types of antennas, like a cavity back array, a slot array, and if you see here the time and the RAM occupation, you see that there is a really dramatic, you see, for example, in this example, the standard technique for analysis of a structure like the one you have shown, it would take 13 years, and with the SFX, it takes 11 hours. So it's slightly different. You have here other results, and this technique is not useful only for analyzing antennas, but also structures immersed in an electromagnetic field, like a ship. This is a ship mast, or a full ship, like the one you see here. And so with this tool has been used in many areas, in activities with the European Space Agency, and it works very well. This is also an example, and I'm concluding. The final example I'm making is the activity in antenna design, in which a tool has been prepared by our group for synthesizing arrays and antennas for obtaining some special radiation pattern. And this is an example for isoflux coverage for satellite antennas. And that's it. I had another one, but I don't show it. I conclude. Thank you for the attention. And
thank you, Mario.
Since the coffee break is now.